And howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Word, Praise, and Wisdom number 21. Howdy, Dee. Howdy, Lynn. Howdy, Shawnette. We're going to get some reading done today in Psalms, starting with Psalm 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. And anyways, my brain's distracted. Imagine that. Anyways, that's what happens when you cut your hairs.
That's right. You can't hold the thoughts in anymore.
Nope. We were discussing that, and a lot of people have remarked about how when they cut their hair, they start hitting their head a lot. Shave their head, I should say. All right, let's pray in. Hello, Father. Thank you very much for bringing us together to fellowship and to partake in your living word, the bread of life. We are very grateful that you would share this with us. Very grateful that you called us to salvation, giving us the righteousness of your Son and calling us to repent from sin, the transgression of your law. And we just help keep us on your way, on your path, guide our feet. We would ask for your healing for people that have been in traumatic accidents recently, and send your comforter to their family and heal them up. We thank you. We love you. In Jesus Yeshua's name, amen. All righty. Let's get started. Psalm 101. I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, O Lord, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O, when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A froward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whoso privily slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. Mine eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with me. He that waketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all wicked doers from the city of the Lord.
Psalm 102. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry for help come to you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my distress. Incline your ear to me. In the day when I call, answer me quickly. For my days have been consumed in smoke, and my bones have been scorched like a hearth. My heart has been smitten like grass and has withered away. Indeed, I forget to eat my bread. Because of the loudness of my groaning, my bones cling to my flesh. I resemble a pelican of the wilderness. I have become like an owl of the waste places. I lie awake. I have become like a lonely bird on a housetop. My enemies have reproached me all day long. Those who deride me have used my name as a curse. For I have eaten ashes like bread and mingled my drink with weeping, because of your indignation and your wrath. For you have lifted me up and cast me away. My days are like a lengthened shadow, and I wither away like grass. But you, O Lord, abide forever, in your name to all generations. You will arise and have compassion on Zion, for it is time to be gracious to her, for the appointed time has come. Surely your servants shall find pleasure in her stones and feel pity in her dust. So the nations will fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of the earth your glory. For the Lord has built up Zion. He has appeared in his glory. He has regarded the prayer of the destitute and has not despised their prayer. This will be written for the generations to come, that a people yet to be created may praise the Lord. For he looked down from his holy height, and from heavens the Lord gazed upon the earth to hear the groanings of the prisoner, to set free those who are doomed to death, that men may tell of the name of the Lord in Zion and his praise in Jerusalem, when the people are gathered together. And the kingdoms to serve the Lord. He has weakened my strength in the way. He has shortened my days. I say, oh my God, do not take me away in the midst of my days. Your years are throughout all generations. Of old you founded the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. Even they will perish, but you will endure, and all of them will wear out like a garment. Like clothing, you will change them, and they will be changed. But you are the same, and your years will not come to an end. The children of your servants will continue, and their descendants will be established before you.
Muted.
Psalms 103. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfy thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. The Lord executeth righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He hath not dwelt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy toward them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. Like a father pitieth his children, so the Lord pitieth them that fear him. For he knoweth our frame, he remembereth that we are dust. As for man, his days are as grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourished. For the wind passeth over it, and is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. But the mercy of the Lord is everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children, to such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. The Lord hath prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom ruleth over all. Bless the Lord, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do his pleasure. Bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul.
Psalm 104. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers, a flaming fire, who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be moved forever. Thou coveredst it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke they fled. At the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountains. They go down by the valleys unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound, that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. To the wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the air. By them, verse 12, by them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. He watereth the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth, and wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon, which he hath planted, where the birds make their nests. As for the stork, the fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth his going down. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the field do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey, and seek their meat from God. The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together, and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work, and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are thy works! In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan, whom thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That thou givest them, they gather. Thou openest thine hand, they are filled with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. Thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord shall rejoice in his works. He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth. He toucheth the hills, and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord as long as I live. I will praise to my God while I have my being. My meditation of him shall be sweet. I will be glad in the Lord. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth. Let the wicked be no more. Bless thou the Lord, O my soul. Praise ye the Lord. Oh, did I cut off?
No, you're fine. Jonathan's connection died.
Oh no. I didn't.
So you're going to be leading us in the rest of the.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm teasing. So let's see what he's going to do here. So,
should we back out and try again?
Can Dee hear us?
Yes. Let me see. Oh,
We're on 105.
Hang on just a second.
Sure. Okay, then.
Let's see. I don't want to.
Okay.
Because you could just see me, right?
Yes.
I couldn't see anybody else.
Yeah, we're stuck with you right now.
Should I keep my face on or not?
Well, it's up to you. If you would like to grace us with your beautiful face, I'm sure that we would all love to see you.
Me looking all confused.
So he said his internet is out completely. So.
Oh. Is it recording then,
Okay.
or should?
So if you all still have it, yeah. So who's next to read? Oh,
Me.
Did it?
I went into admin mode.
Well,
so.
Good for you. Okay, excellent.
Well,
okay.
So we're
105.
Yes.
Okay. Give me just a second here.
Okay, so
Okay, so 105. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples. Sing to him, sing praises to him, speak of all his wonders. Glory in his holy name. Let the heart of the Lord, of those who seek the Lord, be glad. Seek the Lord in his strength, seek his face continually. Remember his wonders which he has done, his marvels and the judgments uttered by his mouth. O seed of Abraham, his servant, O sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in the earth. He has remembered his covenant forever, the word which he has commanded in 1,000 generations, the covenant which he had made with Abraham and his oath to Isaac. Then he confirmed it to Jacob for a statute, to Israel as everlasting covenant, saying, to you I will give the land of Canaan as the portion of your inheritance, when they were only a few men in number, very few and strangers in it. And they wandered about from nation to nation, for from one kingdom to another people he permitted no man to oppress them. And he reproved kings for their sakes. Do not touch my anointed ones, and do my prophets no harm. And he called for a famine upon the land. He broke off the whole staff of bread. He sent a man before them, Joseph, who was sold as a slave, then afflicted his feet with fetters. He himself was laid in irons until the time when his word came to pass. The word of the Lord tested him. The king sent and released him, the ruler of peoples, and set him free. He made him lord of his house and ruler over all possessions, to imprison his princes at will, then that he might teach his elders wisdom. Israel also came into Egypt. Thus Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. And he caused his people to be very fruitful, and he made them stronger than their adversaries. Lynn, do you want to start at 25?
Okay, verse 25. He turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtly with his servants. He sent Moses, his servant, and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They showed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made it dark, and they rebelled not against his word. He turned their waters into blood and slew their fish. Their land brought forth frogs in abundance in the chambers of their kings. He spake, and there came divers sorts of flies and lice in all their coasts. He gave them hail for rain and flaming fire in their land. He smote their vines also and their fig trees, and brake the trees of their coasts. He spake, and the locusts came, and caterpillars, and that without number. He did eat up all the herbs in their land, and devoured the fruit of their ground. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength. He brought them forth also with silver and gold, and there was not one feeble person among their tribes. Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them. He spread a cloud for a covering, and fire to give light in the night. The people asked, and he brought quails and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. He opened the rock, and the waters gushed out. They ran in the dry places like a river. For he remembered his holy promise, and Abraham his servant. And he brought forth his people with joy, and his chosen with gladness, and gave them the lands of the heathen, and they inherited the labor of the people, that they might observe his statutes and keep his laws. Praise ye the Lord.
Well, the man has not returned, so it's just us girls.
Right. Look at that.
So, see, we started at 101, right?
Yes, we did.
101.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you guys?
I had verse 3. He's saying, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes, and I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. So that, don't look at those evil things that they're doing. Just keep it out of your eye gates, and just stay away from those people that do wicked and evil, and just don't even hang out with them, because they can drag you down.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
Well, I had the same one, but mine's a little bit. I think sometimes when you're alone a lot, you tend to revert back to things, and so to fill, I don't like silence. So I started watching, TV shows and stuff like that, and it's just like, you can't even do that.
Yeah.
You really can't. So.
Yeah, I've done that, Lynn, and it had become an idol for me and just a distraction. Yeah.
The watching the TV or what she's talking
Or
about.
not. Did I say?
No, I thought you were referring. I mean, I didn't know which one you were referring to. Is what Lynn was talking about, or like
Oh,
TV.
what you were saying, D, sorry.
Mm,
With just distraction and
yeah, it is. I mean, it's just
yeah.
it's
And
yeah. No, go ahead.
looking back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's because if we're single and I don't have families to focus on, and it just dawned on me, maybe that's what Paul's talking about women. Women need to pay attention to their families and what's going on in their households, and that's where they get their fulfillment from. Otherwise, you're going to get distracted and look around, and anybody. It's not just women, but focus on what's right in front of you. It's hard to do sometimes. The enemy's really good at distraction. Hey, it doesn't have to be the enemy. We're really good at distracting ourselves.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, because we need to have that quiet time. I mean, how can we hear our shepherd's voice if we don't spend that time with the quiet? So, yeah, I have the same problem about distractions. So.
Working out in nature really helps without a headset or without any other.
What do you mean without a headset?
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, I don't have reception, so I don't have a choice. But yeah, it's just healthy. It's for me.
With your hands in the soil, does that seem to help you a lot?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Or just taking a walk, just being outdoors, just sitting outside. When I was bedridden, if I could just look out the window, it was healing. Or then I could go out and sit or lay outside for 5 minutes. It made a world of difference. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yep. Being able to be outside.
And then we do and I'm really bad about that because I work, we all work a lot of us work in offices and stuff. And so it's really hard. We get stuck in our houses.
Yep.
Or in the office or whatever, and we don't make the time to go just hang out outside like you're saying.
Yeah. Wintertime is kind of hermit season around here, but for some.
Yeah. So what else? So all of us got something out of 3. What else? Did y'all have anything else in the chapter?
7, he that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. Yeah, I think that also, I think of that as, and correct me if I'm wrong, as your physical dwelling as well as your temple, your house, our bodies. All of it, I would say, would apply both ways.
Because that's the house of the Ruach, of the Holy Spirit. So I can see that and make sense.
Ooh, great.
And that would make for a very lonely walk, yay?
Yeah. Well, and back up to where, like in verse 6, it said, "My eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, and that he who walks in blamelessness," is what I have. I think the KJV had a little bit different. He who walks
in perfect way.
Perfect. Is that what it had? Is the one who I will minister to me. Minister to me, not I will minister to him, but minister to me. Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm looking at in the Blue Letter Bible at the Strong's. It's tamim, and one of the words for it means have integrity. I think that's really interesting because sometimes we see that word, we see blameless or perfect. You're like, how can I walk blameless? I can't walk blameless or perfect. I'm not perfect. But then when you go look at some of the other words, it's like have integrity.
Yeah. That kind of changes the whole the whole way we can think
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at what you were saying though there about the house. Let's see what it says on the house. Dwell within my house. It says abode of light and darkness, the land of Ephraim, a land of Ephraim.
Hmm.
I think that's really interesting.
Ah, yeah.
So good one, Shawnette, that you saw that. That got some good insight.
That wasn't me. It wasn't me.
You listened.
I'm not smart.
Okay.
Okay, so ready to go to 102?
Yes.
Okay. I was reading, so I didn't get just a whole lot out of that.
Well, I thought it was interesting because this Bible starts out with, in parentheses, a prayer for the afflicted when he is overwhelmed and poureth out his complaint before the Lord. And I thought, wow, how many times have all of us, felt that way?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can see David's doing a lot of that in Psalms. He's pouring out all his complaints.
Yep.
So then I didn't really have anything until like verse 13.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole first from at least just the first part of it is all just
Mhm.
about just the agony and the loneliness and the awkward, and I'm out of place. I don't fit in. And,
Oh, how many times did we feel that?
oh yeah.
Feeling
Mhm.
out of place and don't fit in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even often within the body.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
But then we get to verse 10. Do you guys have anything before 10?
I thought it was kind of strange. Let's look up something in 6. It says, I'm like a pelican of the wilderness.
Right.
Like a pelican.
It goes to
It says pelican or cormorant. Oh, a ceremonial unclean bird.
Mhm.
ooh, yeah. And so with
I
the
feel like
owl.
an unclean bird.
And is the owl as well?
I think an owl is too, right?
I wonder what the
Interesting.
difference.
Huh. I resemble an unclean bird of the wilderness.
That's interesting.
It is. So
Mhm.
where did you say? Did you say 13, Lynn?
Yes. Well, I just thought it was interesting for the time to favor her. The set time is come. I just thought that was interesting. I thought, now is he thinking about the time is coming? I mean, the time to come is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then what is this? For thy servants take pleasure in her stones and favor the dust thereof. It's like, what do you mean? Stones and dust, and it just got me. It's like, what is all this about here?
Well,
I mean, thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, for the time to favor her, yea, the set time is come. And then, it's just what's
this
happening.
is appointed place, appointed time, tent of meeting.
Okay,
So is he talking about Sukkot?
that's
In
kind of,
this?
that's when we're going to dwell with Jesus when he comes back, and we're doing our thing with them, our feasts and our.
Well, in the Strongs, it's talking about the Moed, which is the major feasts. The Moeds are the major feasts.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
But then let's look at the stone. Pleasure in her stones.
To build, carbuncle, mason, plummet, hail, bead, sling. From the root H1129. Yeah, which. Yeah, that's
Servants blind and pay for her dust. Huh. Well, another thing that it's saying here is this is just an outline of biblical usage when I'm throwing out these things. It says petrified with terror is another thing. Does that fit? He wouldn't find thy servants find pleasure in her stones. I don't know. I guess the people of Israel just find pleasure in Zion. So that the nation would fear the name of Yahweh. For he has built up Zion.
right.
He has appeared in his
Here
glory.
in his glory.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and then I had 17.
Okay.
He will regard the prayer of the destitute and not despise their prayers. That's pretty cool. And then I realized I'm not really destitute, so.
Doesn't feel like it sometimes though when we're going through.
Correct. Yeah.
It's like, did you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Right.
Are you sure you're not hearing me?
Mhm.
But then I was reminded this morning of the widow that kept standing before the judge.
Mhm.
And I'm like, do I have to keep on praying the same thing over and over and over? Do you not hear me? But he's like, be persistent. Be persistent in your prayers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, okay, then I'm going to bug you. I'm going to keep bugging you.
Yep. For a long time. Till you tell me no, and I can hear you tell me no.
I'm going to make sure you hear me.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I've been there. Just kill me. Just let me die or get me out of this bed. How long do I gotta lay here, Lord?
Boy, yeah. Mm-hmm. I hear you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Relate.
In the verse 20, it reminded me of salvation, and everlasting life.
Yes. Amen.
To lose those appointed to death. We were prisoners. We were bound by our sin and everything. And then, so now we're not in that anymore. And we were appointed to death, but now we're appointed to life. That's what that verse 20 reminded me of. Oh my goodness.
Well, something, just as you said that, though, Lynn, something just clicked, or a weird thought came to me. I hear the groaning. How many times do we hear about the earth groaning? I'm wondering if the earth isn't a prisoner of sin until Yeshua returns and the earth is set free.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it says even the rocks cry out, and all the creation cries out for him and waiting for his return. So I think the earth does as well.
I wonder if
all the land,
mm-hmm.
the beasts and the land were defiled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I wonder when he walked the earth if the earth was more joyous.
Oh, how could it not have been?
Yeah. It's like our Creator is walking on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
Mm.
Anyway, what else did you guys get out of there? Out of 102?
Just reminder down in 24, 25, he is our creator.
Mm-hmm.
He created everything.
Mhm.
Well, 23, he weakened my strength in the way. He shortened my days. That could be a blessing for some of us.
And then some of us, he still lives here, and it's just sitting there going, I don't understand, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
So some of us he leaves here in verse 26. They shall perish, but they shall endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, but then he's telling us, but then you're all going to be changed. Then we're all going to be changed. And then verse 27, but now they are the same, and thy years shall have no end. Look, you guys, I think that's talking about resurrection,
Mm-hmm.
the final resurrection.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus.
And at the same time, I mean, yeah, I agree with you that is at the resurrection. But when we receive Yeshua, we are washed clean.
Mm-hmm.
When we start following that narrow path,
Yes.
don't know that we get a new garment, but we are washed clean.
Yes, even our DNA is changed and cleaned up.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all got to go to 103?
Mm-hmm.
Continue their seed.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name.
Yep.
All his benefits, all thine, all the diseases, redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and well, verse 12, I mean, there's his mercy right there as far as the east is from the west. So he has removed our transgressions from us. I just thought that was so cool because, isn't that in there a couple of times? As far as the east is from the west? Or is this the only time that it's stated that way? Didn't Jesus say something like that?
I don't know, but there was a Steve Matria talked about this, and I thought it was a really fascinating insight. During the Day of Atonement, Yeshua enters in. Well, the priests enter in on the east. They go to the west to the mercy seat. On the Day of Atonement, the final Day of Atonement, when Yeshua is getting ready to marry his bride, he's going to enter into the east and move to the west to the mercy seat for all the sins to be forgiven. The mercy seats where all the sins are forgiven.
Correct.
So entering the east, going to the west to the mercy seat. That's it. It made that passage much more relevant when you see the temple of how that is structured and how that's outlined, and what the high priest does in the holies of holies is that mercy seat.
Okay. Wow.
And I was just like mind blown.
That is mind blowing.
It's like,
you just blew my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh.
So then they will no longer be remembered. No more remembrance of them.
Right.
Oh, hallelujah.
Amen. When this goes to
If they're under the blood.
My thought, we talk about the Day of Judgment. I don't know. I mean, I think I know that we will stand before our Savior, but if our sins are forgiven and remembered no more, then what will we be doing? What will those who have received Yeshua and are part of that kingdom, what type of process will happen on Judgment Day?
Well, I've heard there's. Go ahead, Lynn.
No, I want you to go first.
Well,
Okay.
I've heard some studies on it, and then the difference between the great white throne judgment, that we won't be there. We won't be at the great white throne judgment, but we all will have to give an account. So, yeah. That's about it.
What was your thoughts, Lynn?
Well, my thoughts were like we may have to be giving an account to where we didn't do what he asked us to do, or where, you know, we missed something or we didn't do it fully.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe sometimes not recognizing some of the sins that we had that we needed to work on and ask him for forgiveness for. I mean, we are just humans, and sometimes we are stubborn about him bringing stuff up to us. You know, you know what I mean? We're just stubborn, and we'd say, oh, it's not really that important, but maybe it is to his Father.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if what you were talking about, Lynn, where we maybe didn't follow through. Those are the crowns. We'll either receive or won't receive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of it is unlearning some of the theology.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That we've been taught.
Yes. Come on, I gotta live to be an old lady so I could unlearn everything I learned the first half of my life.
I know, it's like I need another 30 or 40 years here.
Exactly. Boy, remember that, yeah.
You can only fire hose me so much, and then it's
Yeah.
can't take anymore. I can't take it anymore. But I like what, let's see, it was in 13. If I've gotten ahead of you guys, holler. He is compassionate on those who fear him. That's his, and for he himself knows our frame, like you were saying, Lynn. He knows, he created us out of dust.
Mm-hmm.
He knows our frailties. He knows our failures and our faults and where our weaknesses are. And that's just his mercy.
Huh. I wonder if that goes with that 102 14, you know?
The rocks and the dust, or the
Rocks and the
stones
dust.
and the dust.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. With the dust.
Yeah.
Good insight. Yeah, I think so.
And regardless, if we're his, we're his.
Oh boy, they're
Every
both
stone is his. The cattle on 1,000 hills are his. So
Yeah.
anything that is his is going to be.
Yeah. Interesting. They're both verse 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
Well, and then, yeah, there it is.
I'm writing that in my margins, Lynn.
Oh, what color are you going to make it?
It's orange.
Yay for orange. I like orange. And it's Orange Day too.
My Bible's very colorful.
So I like that 18, you know, and to such as keep his covenant, to those that remember his commandments, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He prepares his throne and his kingdom, and it's like they're going to be part of that.
Everlasting to everlasting.
Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I'm wrong, is not his covenant. I mean, so we're saying we're keeping his covenant. We're doing his covenant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's look at the word keep just a second.
Okay.
To such as keep his covenant. Oh. So keep, guard, keep watch and ward, protect.
Okay.
A hedge about it. So his covenant.
Yes, government to do the commandments.
Have we not said his covenant is the Sabbath?
Well, that's that, but then it says, and remember his commandments. But yeah, the covenant of the Sabbath is one. I mean, but are we talking about a bigger covenant that encompasses all that? Because it's saying
His commandments.
Yeah, and commandments is appointed. That is a mandate, a commandment, precept, statute. So I think that would include all the laws and the appointed times.
Right, on the commandments, but what's the difference of what is his covenant
Right.
that we're to guard and protect, put a hedge around?
His covenant, Barry East, that's Strong's H1285.
Mm-hmm.
A compact in the sense of cutting.
But what are we calling his covenant?
Because yeah,
no,
exactly.
I mean, what are we saying is, so we still had the Abrahamic covenant, right?
So it says a compact because made by passing between pieces of flesh. So remember when they would cut the animals in half and then they would go walk, the priest would walk between them. So that's the covenant that he's talking about. Which feast did they do that on, or when did they do that and what was that for? I can't remember. When you cut the animals in half, then they walk between the pieces.
Was that Jacob?
Okay.
I think that was Jacob. Was it not?
Was it?
Did that? Well, anything that is a covenant, if I understand, is blood.
Right.
So is this in relation to Yeshua? Because that was the sacrifice, but that was a blood covenant.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Is it?
And yeah, it probably is. Mm-hmm. Well, homework. Yeah, it's something to look into because I'm sure Jonathan would know.
I bet he would. Where is he?
They're messing with the cable over there. So you know how that goes.
Yes, I know. Unfortunately. Fortunately, but unfortunately.
All right.
All right.
Do you have anything else for you? You want to move on to 104?
I think we can. I think I just got an overall of this was just everything, his whole creation cries out, blesses him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like how he goes over that.
Stretching out heaven like a tent curtain.
Can you imagine? Doing the little shake thing and whoosh.
I'd love to have one of those tents.
Yes.
Instant.
They pop up, yeah, they go
tent. Yeah, I'd love to have one of those. Yeah. Makes the coat go a lot faster. Set up. was trying to. Well, okay. So in the actual text, it doesn't say tent curtain; it just says curtain.
Hmm. Yeah, this one just says out like a curtain, stretches the heavens out like a curtain.
4.
Yeah, this whole chapter is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's creation, and then here's here's the earth and all that, and everything that he created, and how he set up the seasons and
Mm-hmm.
and everything in the ocean and on the earth. And
It's sort of kind of like a detailed version of Genesis.
yeah.
Wonder who wrote this one. Wrote this psalm.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and down in my notes it says this is a hymn of praise, a poetic parallel of Genesis 1. Wondering if Moses wrote this one.
Yeah. So these are the things that we can meditate on. As he gets to the end of the whole chapter, he says, I'm going to meditate on him, because these things that he did are really, really cool. And, so now when I'm thinking about him and what he's done, I just think that's so awesome. Basically it's sweet. Like we would say, sweet.
Right.
Well, and what does man try to do?
Mm-hmm. We try to worship the creation.
Or try to create?
Or correct.
Or correct creation?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said this in another video a while back, but I was reading something, and it was part of our anatomy, how women are made. And it was saying that this particular part of anatomy was poorly designed. I'm like, no, how is that?
Yeah, according to whose standards,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He's like, well, if you do things what you're supposed to take care of your body, then it's not poorly designed. It's quite an amazing. Quite an amazing.
Yeah,
creation.
it is. We have a billion computers in our body, all running at once.
It's just one cell. The process of one cell. In college, we had to learn the Krebs cycle, and
yes,
I had to learn 10 steps of the Krebs cycle, and my professor learned 100 steps of the Krebs cycle, and he met Dr. Krebs. And Dr. Krebs just laughed at him. He's like, yeah, there's like 1,000 more. One cell. It's like, 10,000 steps to convert a molecule of energy into or a molecule into a usable.
And just think about how fast it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're amazingly created. Yes. And so is the earth.
Yeah. And so it's just like,
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yep, he knows exactly what to do to us to raise us up and lift us down and bring us out and through.
Yeah.
If we'll stop long enough.
Right.
And listen to him.
Yes.
Those of us who do who are into natural stuff, sometimes it's really hard for us to just stop and ask him, you made me, you created me, you made me unique. What do you want? How can you, what do you want me to do? What foods do I need to eat? What do I need to use supplements, or do I need, but we have to stop and listen.
Yes, we do.
And then he can use anything that we, that he's given us. But Man, that's hard for me sometimes. I jump on the internet and I start researching, and before long I'm off doing stuff, and it's just like, did I stop and ask him?
Yeah.
His guidance.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. He brought something to me, and it was about 6 months before he even did it. I was like, because I was kind of freaked out about doing it. But I don't know why. I finally did it, and I don't know why I waited so long. He's the one that brought it to me and told me to do it. You need to do this, you know? And then I just balked. But I finally did it, and so maybe that I have to answer to that later. You know, you didn't trust me enough on that. Remember that time?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Anyway, yes, he has patience with us, and he like remember, you know, we're just fleeting. We're just here for a minute, and we're fragile, relatively so. Anyway.
So, okay, the next thing that I've got is way down in 26.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find the original word for Leviathan.
Oh.
And my Hebrew Chaldee is not working on my computer for some reason.
Mm-mm.
Let's see if it works here. No, it's not. Anywho.
A wreathed animal, the serpent, a symbol of Babylon. Yeah.
I'm wondering if, I'm beginning to believe that the dragons existed. Fire-breathing dragons. I think they existed.
Well, yeah, they did. They did do.
And I'm wondering if this isn't the sea version of that.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, because it's saying, well, a large sea monster, especially the crocodile, but they're talking about a wreathed animal. So you would think about those things that come off the dragons, his little beardy things and whatever those are. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Mourning, like mourning. That's the last word that it gives. Huh. That's interesting.
Anybody else got anything for 104?
No.
I was hoping our fearless leader would be here by now.
And thou renewest in the face of the earth, renewest the face of the earth. Verse 30.
Mm-hmm.
Just the renewest.
You know, and he does provide, you know, like little creatures and stuff like that that clean up things, like, you know, oysters and shrimp and lobster that we used to eat.
Garbage.
Right, used to.
And
No,
yeah.
I never ate them.
I did. I like shrimp. I like shrimp cocktail.
I eat some shrimp, but as for the rest of those little garbage disposals, no. And shrimp, I wasn't like really into it either. So,
but I mean, they clean up the sea.
They do. They're little vacuum cleaners. Yes. Yeah. All right. You guys want to go to 105?
Yep.
So I had a note, 1 Chronicles 16:8 through 22. And I don't know why, but I just have that right there by verse 1.
That is in my Bible, that is listed as a reference. So
okay.
You must have written that in there as.
Yeah, maybe when we were in Chronicles. When we were studying Chronicles.
1 Chronicles, 16:8?
16. Verse 8 through 22.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost a, oh, give thanks to Yahweh, call upon his name, and make known among the peoples his deeds. Sing to him, sing psalms to him, talk of all his wondrous works. That's the first two. That's 8 and 9.
Wow. Right. We were talking about that covenant.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting an explanation here in verse 8, 9, 10, and then 11. Now then 11 is talking about giving you the land of Canaan. Huh.
And that one, I would think it would be the Abrahamic covenant.
Right, because it says that, which covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac,
Mm-hmm.
and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a land covenant. And the covenant he made with Abraham was to have all these generations out of him that were as many as the sand of the sea. Is that correct?
That's what I remember. It was like, duh, if I kept reading, it would have said right there, Abraham.
Yeah. But and then 12 says when they were but few men in number, very few, and strangers in it. Huh. And he protected them that whole time. Don't touch my anointed and do my prophets no harm.
Covenant. Yeah.
That's the one covenant.
Yeah, I bet that was hard for Abraham because he's resting on the promise he was given that he would have so many descendants that it was like the sand of the sea, and he's walking around the desert with 30, 40 people, or not even that many, with just his wife and Isaac, and then however long it took Isaac to get married, and he didn't have a very big band of family.
For sure. Huh.
Believing without seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we want to do? Show me. I feel like I live in Missouri. Show me.
I'm from misery. Show me.
Show me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. This is like the history chapter.
Yeah, I've got a note, but it's way down in 23. So if you guys have something else.
That's my next note was 23.
Yeah, thus Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. I think it's in an extra biblical book or a pseudepigrapha book where it talks about how the three sons of Noah divided up the earth. And where Ham went south. They weren't supposed to do that, but they divided it up.
Right.
And one of them went north, one went more east, one went south, and Ham went south. And I don't remember which book it's in. Somebody I bet will know.
Yes, put it down in the comments because.
Mm-hmm. Because I know I read it. It's in there somewhere. That's my normal statement. It's in there somewhere.
Yes, that's something I'm going to have to look up on the timelines. All right. Yeah, I found that interesting too. And then they mentioned it again. Yes, goes through all those signs and everything that happened in Egypt, and him bringing them out. And a little history of Moses.
Mhm.
Yep. So this is a Exodus.
Mhm. So look at that. We had Genesis and now Exodus.
Mhm.
I'm wanting to say probably the writer of these two is Moses, but I don't know where I can go to confirm that.
Interesting.
So anything else that Shawnette, did you have anything anywhere, Lynn?
No, pretty much that's it. Because I was reading that last half, so. But yeah, I like how it talks about Egypt and how they came out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Covenant, keep his commandments and his statutes, keep his laws, and praise ye the Lord.
Amen.
But don't be expecting to be delivered or covered or whatever if you're not. I mean, you're not saved and walking. And I think that there are different levels for each of us because he knows where we are in our walk.
Mm-hmm.
He knows exactly how to correct us
Absolutely.
and to what extreme.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. He's a good father, patient with his children.
Thankful.
Because not all of us know, not all of us have the same knowledge or experience. So, yeah.
And I think that's on purpose, Shawnette.
Oh,
Because just think how prideful we would be. The more knowledge you get, sometimes we get more prideful, more puffed up. But at the same time, it forces us all to work together.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, humble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then it's, do you want to be part of the Church of Philadelphia where you love one another and you're willing to put aside what you think,
Yeah.
you're willing to not fight over stuff. You just say, this is what I see. If you see that, that's fine. As long as, it's not heretical or, despair or, putting Jesus in a different spot, but he's not going to give that to any one person.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's his body.
All different parts of the body.
Yeah. How could you take something?
Right. We're not all hands.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Oh, are we gonna bail out?
Yep, we're gonna bail.
All right. Well, everybody say bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Like,
Bless you, ladies, and everyone. Thank you.
Like, share, subscribe, press the bell thingy.
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
And thanks, Jonathan, for getting us started.